Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Let's Play the Third Courier. And in this video I'm going to do something that I should have done in the last video, which is go over some more information about how to find and play this game, because the game came out in 1989 and would have come in a box set with some floppy disks, which most contemporary computers no longer make the drives for. So what you'll need to do is find an online copy of the game, or find an old copy and then find a way to connect a drive or an external 3.5 or 5.25 floppy drive to your computer to be able to make it work. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and show you what I did to make this game work, or to play the game. And then I'll also show you some more things that I talked about in the last video, and that way you can at least see a little bit, or I can describe them to you a lot better. So the first thing I did, I went online and did a search for the Third Courier, and I was able to find the website, or find a website where it was available for free download. And the name of the website that I got it from is My Abandonware. Now the thing about this website, it has all kinds of old games on it that you can play or download. Now this website offers the functionality of playing the game in your actual browser. However, this feature, when I tried it, did not work for me, so I had to actually download a copy of the game. And so what I did when I downloaded the game is I saved it to my C drive on my computer. The way I access it is I go to C drive and then this PC C drive, and then I created a folder and I called it DOS games, and then I downloaded it to that folder. And I'll go ahead and explain why here in a little bit. But while we're on this website, I'll go ahead and show you some things on here that actually are available to make the game somewhat easier, because the game actually has a lot of things in it that are really not necessary to the plot. So the first thing I'll go ahead and show you is the map of the game, and this is a map of, or what would be considered West Berlin and East Berlin. Now, of course, the names of the streets are actual streets in Berlin. However, I'm thinking possibly either by design or possibly due to the limitation of 1980s game-making technology, the actual streets are really not configured the exact way that they would be in real life. So you notice that there are a lot of square blocks, and it really more reminds somebody of downtown Manhattan, possibly, and not really Berlin. But of course, you notice there is the wall surrounding West Berlin, and the wall between there's the east part, and then there's the west part, and there is a possibility to travel in the east part for some way in the game. And of course, there's the wall, the two boxes there on somewhat the right in the upper part are the checkpoint Charlies. And then there is the map of the U-Bahn stations on Kurfürstendamm. The U-Bahn is the subway that you can take. There are U-Bahn stations in West Berlin and East Berlin. And then also there is the square there that says your apartment. Now your apartment, and this is where you start out the game. When you get out of the apartment, you're going to be on Knesebeckstraße, and what you may want to do is download a copy of this map and print it, and then that way you can actually notate other shops or other places in the game that are necessary to the plot. where you find clues or where you find things or items, because honestly it doesn't really say a lot otherwise, because there are all kinds of shops and restaurants and bars and apartment buildings and hotels and things like that really you can get lost in and don't really advance the game or advance the plot at all. So there is the map. Another thing that I went over in the last video is what was called the passcoder, and as I mentioned in the last video, that in order to be able to use your computer in the game, you have to be able to come up or find the passcode. Now, the passcoder was actually a way for the game makers to copy protect the game, because back in the 1980s, when you bought a video game or a computer game in a box, it came with the floppy disks. Anybody who bought the game could make copies of those floppy disks. It was mostly for the purposes of backing up your game, because that way, if something happened to the disks that you played the game on, then you would have to go out and buy the game again. So most game manufacturers allow people to make copies of the discs to play for backup purposes, and in that way, if something happened, then they could just make another copy. But of course, people actually took advantage of this feature quite a bit, and people used to be able to make copies of that and give it to all their friends, and then those friends could make copies and give those to their friends. So it was a way of copy protecting it and preventing that kind of piracy. They basically said, well, if you didn't buy the actual game, we're going to make it very hard for you to actually play the game if you don't have the passcoder that we include. And they even put in there that if you lost your passcoder, that you could order another one for $15, which actually is still kind of pricey. Not as pricey as buying another copy of the game, but still. So anyway, this passcoder is actually, bring it back up here, it actually looks like, well, this is the first part that I explained to you. On the logon screen, it gives you a color, either red or blue, red on the bottom, blue on the top. And then also it has a row of these symbols, and the symbol we got in the last video was these double H's. And then here's the rivet that I told you about that connects the other piece of the passcoder to this one. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and bring up the other picture of the passcoder, and just to demonstrate, to show you what the other one looks like and how you use it in conjunction with this one. So the way that you do that, there is a little track. There's a little track. This is where the rivet would have connected this part to the other part. And then there's this little window, and that's the window that should surround the symbol that's given on the logon screen. So what you do is you find the 3-digit code that's listed on the logon screen on the top or the bottom row, depending on which color it gives you. So again, blue on the top, red on the bottom. And then you choose the 3-digit code that it gives you from the list on the other part, and then you choose it from, you basically slide it along on the symbol, and then you choose whatever letter matches up with that, and that's where you get your 3-digit passcode. So what I did was I actually printed out a copy of this, and then I put a little hole where this little window should be, and then that way I was actually able to use it, because even though there are pictures of this available on this website, it's really difficult to juxtapose the two so that you can see which symbol is actually in the window, because you really can't. They're two separate files. So that might be something you should consider doing to make this easier. And then the next thing, there's the mission overview. The mission overview is really just more of an iteration of the plot. What it really goes into talks about the third courier disappearing, the other 2 couriers having been murdered, the basic premise of the plot, and then also gives you tips and things about what to do, and it also talks about the passcoder briefly. So the way that I got this game is I actually, well, after downloading it, most modern computers, well, especially this one, the one I'm playing on right now, is actually a computer that has Windows 10 on it. So most Windows applications are not going to be able to play this. I would say maybe Windows XP might, Windows Vista might, but maybe Windows 7 is kind of iffy, but most modern computers are not going to be able to play the game if you download it. So what you have to do is download an accessory called DOSBox. I'll go ahead and go over that with you a little bit. Now I wish I could demonstrate to you a little bit about how I actually play the game, but my recording thing will not let me, so I'll go ahead and just go over the instructions a little bit with you. So if you go into DOSBox, you download it here from this website for free. Of course, you can make a donation, which is recommended also. Then what you also can do is look for some instructions how to run games on DOSBox, for example. And there's some really good instructions on how to do this available on Google, for example. It took me a while to actually figure out how to do it, but when you follow the instructions and you actually have a folder saved in your C drive, like it basically says, it makes it a lot easier to switch the actual or to switch your drive to that folder so that it can actually run the game. So I would say what you might want to do is maybe peruse the website to get some more in-depth instructions about how to play the game or boot the game up when you have it available for download, or after you've downloaded it onto your C drive in that folder, and how to actually play it. So actually what I'll do then in my next video is I will actually demonstrate how I actually boot the game up, and then that will be some more information. Now of course I'm going to go ahead and cut this video a little bit short, but on the next video I will go ahead and demonstrate with DOSBox how to actually boot the game up. And thanks for watching. I will see you next time.